This is a Kakadu Ridge monument and park. This view that we're looking at now is from the Japanese side. I'll be walking up over the other side where the 382nd and 381st came in. That's Needle Rock right there looking from from Kakadu Ridge.
I'm not sure.
As I pan to the left, I think we can pick up Conical Hill. There's Conical Hill.
Oh, okay. I'm pretty sure that's Conical Hill. Way over there.
That's the landing beaches, looking from Kakadu Ridge.
Is this one?
This is looking north from Kakadu Ridge.
Right over in there.
Alright, that's Noodle Rock. I think it's really growing up there.
Due east is Tombstone right over there. And on the other side of that is this thing called
This is one of the tunnel places in front of Kakadu Ridge.
very down the slope, where the road did you ever see the special, National Geographic going on?
No, my daughter. Okay.
He's under orders.
Yeah, right.
Are we ready? We ready in the second bus?
These are the some of the tombs on Tombstone Ridge.
Well, here's a map of.
This is looking down from the Mayavi Escarpment. And guarantee you, none of those buildings or this vegetation was here 45 years ago. Right there is the the landing beaches.
I had to run to catch up.
There's another view of looking down from the escarpment.
He's like, wait a minute, I remember this girl, come on, follow me. And he took off the tilt, running, I'm like, yeah.
If we look down from the escarpment again, we can see what view the Japanese had of the American troops coming up the valley. Now this valley here, tanks were able to operate. Right there's some more tunes. And as I pan to the right here, we'll pick up Needle Rock. Right there. This is the archaeological dig at Church Castle.
Burial ground. So the last time I remember they were having a big fat fight over it until they get their mounds back. I don't know. That worked out.
Here we are at Church Castle.
The route is this way.
couple.
Come forward and observe your monument. In approximately 10 minutes, a jubilee will sound assembly. At that time, we invite all Army veterans to fall in on the drill sergeant located on the street.
Well, he came down here and started up.
Okay, that's Conoco Hill right there. And you're like hanging around. Let's see Buckner Bay.
I was on the other side.
This whole area now is covered by golf course.
I didn't bring no black bag. There's some of us got to.
Well, it's called over here. Never I had a picture at home, but I didn't use that. I don't know.
There's a landmauer
That's the top of Conoco Hill right there.
Yeah.
This is all part of the golf course around Conical Hill. This is looking at directly into Dick Hill.
Can't see. It's hard to see from here, but it was right over there. You can see that double knob there clear over there, though. Yeah. We did come across it there. We didn't go on the back.
Let me get in here first here. Thank you. Oh, boy. Oh, we got clouds easy right there. Very good. Thank you.
You can call me Sandy.
We're going down to that, going to head down to this point down here.
We're on 507.
Oh, yeah, where the restaurant is somewhere down. Yeah.
Heading down one of the main streets, but we don't know where we are.
Well, this was all open when we were here. That's closed now. We're headed to there.
Here's where we stopped for lunch. It's not a Mexican restaurant, it's a Japanese seafood restaurant. We're looking at the southernmost tip of the island.
United States Army Japan, 9th Corps, 9th Theater Army Area Command.
Thank you very much.
I just wanted to thank Mr. Takahashi for the help that he's given to this community. It means so much to us. I saw the beautiful memorial that you, I guess, helped make and dedicated here yesterday. We appreciate that. And as you know, you sent me a small model of your MacArthur statue. And I put that, you know, MacArthur lived in my house, actually it's your house, but that's mine for the moment, for 5.5 years. So I've got your statue right in that bedroom, and whoever goes in there thinks of General MacArthur and Mr. Takahashi. So thank you so much. We're very grateful to you for your help and your kindness to us. We truly appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, what we need to do now is have the...
1945. This now strangely beach you overlook is called Red Beach, and was the landing site for the United States Marine 6th Division. Approximately 2 miles to your left were the landing sites of the United States Army 7th and 96th Infantry Divisions. Soldiers of these divisions, together with the 1st Marine Division and the United States Army 37th and 77th Divisions, did not come in peace. We did, however, come to mission peace. We did come to protect, preserve, and extend freedom and democracy for ourselves and for others. You did your job well, soldiers of our yesterday. Your blood and that of your fellow comrades on this sacred ground concentrated a new friendship between the people of Japan and the people of the United States. A friendship that has endured 50 years. A peace that has endured 1/2 century. It is then with humility and devotion that we, the soldiers of today, dedicate this retreat ceremony to you and to those of your comrades with us but in spirit.
Thank you very much for that kind introduction. I do many things in Japan as your ambassador, but today is special. I feel that it is the highest of honors to be among brave people such as yourself, who in a moment of maybe our nation's highest peril risked everything to fight for our nation and for the values of freedom and liberty that hold us together. And to do so on these grounds which were the point where the battle commenced. Location we're here, and I understood is where the Marines came ashore, but not too far down the beach here is where the first elements of the U.S. Army came ashore. A few days ago, somebody sent me a diary that they kept during the war. It was somebody from Iowa, a small town in Iowa, and he should have gone on to become an author because he wrote beautifully. And better than even the books I've read, it recounted what you went through right on the spot. It had to be accurate. And this young man lost almost every friend he had. Every day there was a list of 2 or 3 or 4 people that were either killed or maimed. And by the end of the peace that we enjoy in this region today began here on these beaches in Okinawa with the U.S. Army units who fought with such courage more than 50 years ago. Your friends and comrades did not die in vain. Though they're not here, their bravery and sacrifice helped restore the liberty and freedom that we all love. Today, thankfully, the role of the U.S. Army in maintaining the peace in this region is as important as ever. U.S. Army servicemen and women deployed on the Korean Peninsula, defending our interests and those of our allies against the North Korean military threat is one example. The U.S.-Japan alliance, in which the U.S. Army Japan plays such a vital role, continues to be the cornerstone of peace and stability in the Asian-Pacific region. I'm nearly of the same generation as you are, and in our lifetime, all 3 major wars began out here. This time we're trying to do it differently, and the U.S.-Japan Security Alliance is at the very heart of this effort, and it is one of the great victories of the human spirit of almost any age that we could have gone through this dreadfully bloody battle and yet very quickly find within ourselves the ability to put it behind us, reach a security relationship that contributes more to peace and stability than almost anything being done anywhere else in the world. That is the real victory of it all. Of today's soldiers, these young men and women that are around here. And I'd just like to say, you are the best, and so are they. Thank you.
Die in vain. So I would ask you honored veterans to do one more thing. Look at these young American soldiers, please. Look into their eyes. And as we lower the flag today and hear the salute, remember, right before they are still the best fighting soldiers in the world, they will never let you down, and the defense of the nation is secure. Thank you, and God bless you.
It is our honor to introduce the son of Lieutenant General Simon Bolivar Buckner, Jr., commander of the 10th United States Army during the Battle of Mr. Donald Baker, please stand and receive the colors of the 96th Infantry Division. One year of peace, 1 year of friendship, 1 year of freedom, for and between our two great countries.
Attention, every center! Detail, please, Ian. Halt! Red! Upstage! Pretend! Battalion! Upstage! Pretend! Battalion! Upstage! Present! Battalion! Upstage! Present! Command! Upstage! Present!
Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem is the flag of the United States of America. move ourselves. Please feel free to visit the site facilities, proceed to the buffet line for service stand, or visit one of the refreshment stands. As a special treat, when you look skyward, we invite you to look to the sky while members of the 1st Battalion, 1st Special Forces were airborne, and to the form of a high altitude.
Talk about a luau army just all out. Outstanding. This is the Okinawa Peace Memorial Park.
台湾出身の兵士たちに生まれていた事実を私たち県民は自らの問題として忘れることはできません。それだけに私たちはこの地で肉親を亡くした国内外のご遺族の悲しみを共有するとともに外国籍の記者たちやご遺族の方々に対し痛恨の思いを
時は止まり、ただ暖かい日差しだけ明日を求めて、そして今私は命を見た。この広い大地にひっそりと金色の光を浴びて真っ白い花が一輪一輪天に向かって開いている。大地に眠る人々の命が私の心に今よみがえる。静かに開けたこの広い大地で誰かが歌っている自由の歌を、平和の歌を。
それではアメリカ合衆国ローラ・A・アレンさん。二度と戦争を起こさせてはならないという沖縄県民の平和への期待を表す平和的が関係各国と県内全市町村の代表の議論生徒により検討されました。平和の日が灯ったところで
「
23万4183名の戦没者の氏名を刻んだ記念碑平和の礎の
信長のお金持ち、このように立派に完成した平和の礎の戸隠が過去の盛大に施行されますことは、全世代とともに心からお喜びを。
The band drum major, and by Sergeant Major Beth A. Hammer, the enlisted band leader.
Was he? I don't know.
Then he
Yeah, he ran for president.
Oh, no, no. We're all great. Agree with you. Almost, I don't agree with
The Honorable Mr. Walter F. Mondale was sworn in as the U.S. Ambassador to Japan on August 13, 1993. The Honorable Mr. Mondale served as Vice President of the United States from 1977 to 1981. He was the first Vice President to have an office in the White House, and he served as a full-time participant, advisor, and troubleshooter for President Carter's administration.
There you go.
Prior to serving as Vice President, the Honorable Mr. Mondale served his native state of Minnesota as State Attorney General from 1960 to 1964, and subsequently as United States Senator until 1972. Alejandro Ruiz received the Medal of Honor for action during the Battle of Okinawa while serving as a Russian with the 77th Army Infantry Division. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the invocation by Captain Marina, the Free Marine Expeditionary Force Chaplain.
Please bow your heads as we pray.
Hey!
Representing the United States Army, the 10th Area Support Group Company is commanded by Captain Dennis Welch from Parks, Mississippi. Representing the United States Marine Corps, Headquarters Battalion, 3rd Marine Division, commanded by Captain Jeff Wilson from Perry, Michigan. United States Army. Representing the United States Navy and the United States Coast Guard, the Combined Naval Activities Company is commanded by Lieutenant Larry Cook from Calhoun, Georgia. Representing the United States Air Force and the U.S. Army Air Corps, the Combined 18th Air Wing and Kadena Air Base Company is commanded by Captain Jim Wells from Boston, Massachusetts.
particularly amongst those who occupied the island of the Okinawans. The island was systematically destroyed from April 1st through August or through June 23rd. It was systematically destroyed by a war machine. The very machine that the people on Okinawa for hundreds of years deplored and felt that there was no place in the world for it. But it was destroyed by an organization that was going against another organization.
O Lord our God, we grieve and mourn those who suffered and died on this island 50 years ago in the terrible tragedy of battle. We think of the lives that were cut short of the promise of youth, and for those forever changed by the horrible reality of war. We are each poor, Lord, for the men and women who lost their lives in this place were not able to enrich our lives with their love and concern, their patience and care. The battle had ceased. And yet we take comfort in knowing they did not labor in vain, for our memories of them have been blessed by time. They serve as beacons for us, beacons to guide us to treasure our lives and to lead us to show more love for others. Allow their memories to remain ever vibrant in our hearts, that our lives might reflect their passion. And may our legacy blend with theirs as we pursue your peace together forever. For those who suffered and died, we pray to the Lord. Lord, hear our prayer.
former member of Company L. Major General Freeman, Colonel Mandeville, distinguished guests. Your first action was in Leyte, fighting in places called San Jose, Alto Peak, White Chalk Ridge, Bloody Ridge, Agami Heights, and Samar. You then began training for operations in Okinawa, and by mid-March you embarked from the Philippines for rehearsal near Benkei and then headed northeast. On the 1st of April, you landed on Okinawa, south of the Vichy River with the 3 General Freeman, Claudius Easley Jr., fellow veterans, their families, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the 96th Infantry Division Association, I wish to thank all those who took part in the reestablishing of the Colonel May General Easley monuments to this beautiful site. As I look across this panorama, it is difficult to imagine what transpired here 50 years ago. The thousands of lives that were sacrificed and the additional number that were wounded. Each one of the vets who are here during this campaign must have their own feelings of what this site means. As dawn brings about the end of darkness and the start of a new day, may these monuments serve to inspire our new generation of servicemen and women to achieve their ultimate goals and perform their duties. And all who pass these beautiful monuments may bow their heads as a tribute to those men who paved the road to freedom. Thank you. Responsible for implementing the placement of these two beautiful monuments on this battlefield site and is a true friend of the 96th Infantry Division and its veterans. Good afternoon. I feel like not only a true friend but a member of the 96th Division now. I've been around with a member of the association. I just have a very small speech. Take into consideration as a native, the weather here, I knew it was going to be like this, so I just prepared, for the sake of everyone, a very, very short speech. First of all, it was approximately six and a half to 8 years ago that several members of the 96th Division visited this island several times to pay homage at the General Easley and Colonel May monument. I believe fate brought me together to some of these members, especially Mr. Don Benka and Mr. Albert Smith and Mr. McCarthy. And on their arrival here, they went directly searching for the monuments. Very unfortunately, the monuments were not to be found at the sites indicated on their map. From experience, I can say was confident. And last previous for your remembrance, on behalf that's not on your program is the bronze plaque which we have brought here. And after this ceremony, we invite you up to inspect the plaque, which will be mounted permanently on the face of the Monument Foundation. It's a beautiful plaque, and it pays tribute to General Easley and Colonel May, members of the 96th Division, and gives credit to the organizations that were responsible for this monument rededication and relocation. And special appreciation is given to the Okinawa War Dead Association, the Ryukyu America Historical Research Society, the 5th Naval Mobile Construction Battalion, our CD friends who did construction work here, and the 10th Area Support Group, U.S. Army, and contributions from Deadeye of the 96th Infantry Division, which funded the project. We will now proceed with the wreath laying ceremony. Our wreath layers today for the General Easley are Cleta Bordeaux, who served in Company L, Company K, and Company F of the 382nd Infantry Regiment, 96th Division, and was commanding officer of Company F for most of the Battle of Okinawa, who will lay the General Easley wreath, and Clarence Snyder, Company I, 383rd Infantry Regiment, who was with the 383rd Infantry Regiment for most throughout the Okinawa campaign and for many months before. And Clarence will lay the wreath for Colonel May. Before we lay express our sincere appreciation to the U.S. Army for providing the wreaths and for all that they have done to make this memorial service so fitting today. And now we'll lay the wreath for Colonel Edwin May, Commanding Officer, 383rd Infantry Regiment, U.S. Army. With Clarence Snyder of Company I, 3rd Battalion, 383rd Infantry Regiment, as honor guard for the wreath. And we'll take a few pictures. Thank you, Clarence, Cleta, and our Army assistant ceremony. We will have a concluding prayer and taps, and then everyone will be welcome to come up to see the monuments. And I also want to call your attention to the monuments to General Buckner and to the Okinawan, American, and Japanese dead of the Battle of Okinawa. The nearest monument was placed by Captain Ishihara, an artillery officer of the Japanese 32nd Army, commanded the last remaining Japanese artillery piece that unfortunately one of his last firing of last 5 rounds resulted in the death of our leader, General Buckner. So Captain Ishihara is in the hospital in Japan, but for over 25 years has been coming here on June 23rd to pray for the dead of the battle. So we show his appreciation for Captain Ishihara too. So saying the final prayer will be Father James Grant, who was an infantryman during the battle serving in Company F, 382nd Infantry Regiment, 96th Division. And thank you all very much.
The country, and the hope that love and peace may be the rule, not war and hatred, between nations and the world. In the name of the Father, and the Son,
You're welcome to come up here.
Oh, you're here. It's Ed Bacon. Okay. They sent me to this table, and I'm in Ed Bacon's place. Oh, really?
Gentlemen, please stand.
Gentlemen, you stand.
At this time, everyone please be seated. I would like to introduce the commanders, senior non-commissioned officers, and their wives of the group and entire naval commands comprising the Army on Okinawa. Please stand when your name is called. Major General and Mrs. Walter Freeman, Commanding General, U.S. Army Japan, 9th Corps, 9th TACOM. Command Sergeant Major and Mrs. Gates, Command Sergeant Major, U.S. Army Japan, 9th Corps, 9th TACOM. Colonel and Mrs. John Mandeville, Commander, 10th Area Support Group. Command Sergeant Major and Mrs. Rufus Parker, Command Sergeant Major, 10th Area Support Group. Lieutenant Colonel and Mrs. John Sauber, Commander, 505th Quartermaster Battalion. Command Sergeant Major Charles Arnett, Command Sergeant Major, 505th Quartermaster Battalion. Lieutenant Colonel and Mrs. Mike Finley, Commander, 1st Battalion, 1st Special Forces Group. Lieutenant Colonel and Mrs. Bill Roper, Commander, 13th 15th Medium Fort Command. Sergeant Major and Mrs. Jean Thompson, Sergeant Major, 13th 15th Medium Fort Command. Lieutenant Colonel and Mrs. Tom Riley, Commander, 58th Signal Battalion. Acting Command Sergeant Major and Mrs. Gelman, Command Sergeant Major, 58th Signal Battalion. I would like now to introduce our honored guests. Please stand when your name is called. General William J. Lizzie, former Commander, U.S. Forces Korea and 8th Army. Lieutenant General James T. Scott, Commanding General, U.S. Army Special Operations Command. Major General and Mrs. William M. Davis, Senior Veteran, 77th Infantry Division. Brigadier General and Mrs. David F. Weiss, Commander, 3rd Marine Division. Brigadier General William T. Hobbins, Commander, 18th Wing. Consul General and Mrs. Aloysius O'Neill, American Consulate General of Okinawa. Captain and Mrs. Danny L. Clarkson. Mr. and Mrs. William C. Buckner, son and daughter-in-law of General Buckner. Mrs. Mary Brubaker, daughter of General Buckner. Mr. Claudius Easley Jr., son of Brigadier General Easley. The veterans of the 7th Infantry Division. The veterans of the 27th Infantry Division. The veterans of the 77th Infantry Division. The veterans of the 96th Infantry Division. The veterans of the 10th Army and the 24th Corps. The veterans of the Army Air Corps. Other service veterans.
Warms my heart. And I just want to say to you, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and a special welcome to our distinguished Battle of Okinawa veterans here tonight. You truly honor us with your presence. I hope you are enjoying the evening and our 50th commemoration celebration in the Army's 220th birthday. Now it is my great pleasure to introduce our guest speaker, another distinguished veteran and former commanding general of the 8th Army and all of the Allied forces in Korea, General William J. Lindsay.
Scott, General Mrs. Freeman, General Mrs. Price, General Mrs. Hobbins, General Mrs. Davis, distinguished Japanese visitors, Captain Mrs. Clarkson, Sergeant Reeves, honored veterans, ladies and gentlemen, soldiers, ladies and gentlemen, Marines. Say that I'm for allowing me to be here will be quite an understatement. One time we had a war, and it captured 3 people. Captured a captain, a sergeant, and a 4-star general. And they said the bad news is that you're going to be shot, executed by the firing squad. The good news is you all get one wish before you're shot. What do you want? The way they were standing, the captain was first. He said, I want a great big steak, I want it medium rare, and I want a cold draft beer and making a Michelob. They said, you got it. General was next. Said, General, what do you want? Said, I want to make a real speech. Well, we guess we'll have to let you do that, but we'll have to get a podium and a mic set up and all that. Said, Sergeant, what do you want? Says, I just want to be shot before a general speaks. For your devotion, dedication, strong courage, and your sacrifice. Thank you very much.
Captain John Parker said to his men, stand your ground, don't fire unless fired upon, but if they want war, let it begin here. Who fired the first shot? To this day, 220 years later, it is not known, but truly, it was the shot heard round the world. As the shot was heard around the world, so were the rallying cries of the Minutemen and the sounds of our Continental Army. The story of the Revolutionary War is one of endurance and determination. In the words of Nathaniel Greene, we fight, get beat, rise, and fight again. On Christmas night in 1776, General Washington crossed the icy Delaware, and after 10 days of bitter fighting, scored an overwhelming victory. Then in a terrible winter at Valley Forge, with bleeding feet staining the snow, the army acquired a soul and waged a battle. Not against the British, but against the bitter cold, hunger, and despair. The crucible of Valley Forge produced other great victories, with the concluding one at Yorktown, all against overwhelming odds. These became the cornerstones of our heritage of freedom. We honor Washington, von Steuben, Lafayette, and many others. 16 campaign streamers, scarlet and white, tell the story of the Army's achievement in the Revolutionary War.
The battle streamers for the Revolutionary War. Ticonderoga, Boston, Quebec.
Scott's great corrugated shipwreck, prompting the British commander to explain, these are regulars, by God. They were in fact regular Army troops, dressed in militia garb for lack of proper uniforms. We remember too the gallant defense of North Point and Fort McHenry, where Francis Scott Key, by the dawn's early light, wrote the stirring words for our national anthem. Jackson's massive victory in New Orleans added a powerful dimension to the Army's stature. The Army added 6 colored and white battle streamers for the heroic deeds done under this banner.
The battle streamers for the War of 1812. Canada, Chippewa, Lundy's Lane, Bladensburg, McHenry, New Orleans.
Sturdy guerrilla warfare was waged in the Philippine insurrection. The aftermath of the war was Spain, and the cessation of the Philippines to the United States required about 100,000 troops in all. In rugged, difficult guerrilla warfare, General MacArthur would chase the rebels through the jungle and forest for 4 years before peace came to the islands. Strange names like Morelos, Cavite, Carmona, Mindanao, and Polo make up some of the 11 movement battle streamers commemorating the Army's achievements.
Battle streamers for the Philippine insurrection. Manila, Iloilo, Malolos, Laguna de Rey, San Isidro, Zapote River, Cavite, Tarlac, San Fabian, Mindanao, Polo.
Pancho Villa and his gang of renegades raided and pillaged across the border. The second version of his ultimate Columbus to Mexico was the last straw. Action was imperative. It was a concern of the Mexican government, President Wilson and Brigadier General Blackjack across the border to capture Pancho Villa. After almost a year of chasing at West End, the raid ceased. And for Mexican terrorists, the Avenue North yellow and green battle streamers. In the perspective of history, it was a minor campaign, but it helped prepare the Army for the challenging test in late 1917.
Battle streamer for the Mexican expedition. Mexico, 1916-1917.
MacArthur, Marshall, Patton, and Eisenhower became figures of their time. But above all, in their words and thought wars, seemed the shield of valor of the American Air Alliance. In the words of General of the Army Douglas MacArthur, immortalizes American Air Alliance, as he was, as he still is.
The enduring fortitude.
Starting with the war and the bitter Canadian campaigns, and Sicily and the long torture trial of the Italian peninsula. Finally, the men and people of Europe had a voice who both become familiar.
Joint David Eisenhower, broadcast June 6, 1944. People of Western Europe, a landing was made this morning on the coast of France by troops of the Allied Expeditionary Force. This landing is part of the concerted United Nations plan for the liberation of Europe. I call upon all who love freedom to stand with us now. Together, we shall achieve victory.
The mightiest of naval force in history landed on the beaches of Normandy, Bastogne, Okinawa. They got a random selection from hundreds of battles and campaigns that were once in Denmark. They will never be forgotten. For these sacrifices by those heroes and for the most prestigious effort by the greatest military force ever assembled, the Army enshrined its flag with 38 campaign streamers.
The battle streamers for World War II. Asiatic Pacific Theater. Philippine Islands. Burma, 1942. Central Pacific, East Indies. India, Burma. Air Offensive, Japan. Aleutian Islands. China Defensive. Papua. Guadalcanal. New Guinea. Northern Solomons. Eastern Mandates. Bismarck Archipelago. Western Pacific. Leyte. Luzon. Central Burma. Southern Philippines. China Offensive. American Theater. Anti-submarine 1941 to 1945. European African Middle Eastern Theater. Egypt, Libya. Air Offensive Europe. Algeria, French Morocco. Tunisia. Sicily. Naples, Lucia. Anzio. Rome, Army. Normandy. Northern France. Southern France. Northern Italy. Rhineland. Ardennes, Alsace. Central Europe. Po Valley. Ladies and gentlemen, Medal of Honor recipient Mr. Alejandro Ruiz will now close the reunion Q Battle Streamer.
Mr. Ruiz and all our heroic Medal of Honor awardees to the Medal of Honors.
Colonel Mandeville will present Mr. Ruiz with the campaign streamer for Okinawa. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please remain standing for the benediction given by Chaplain Richard? Would the following personnel please join Colonel Mandeville for the sake barrel breaking ceremony? General Livesey, Lieutenant General Scott, Major General Freeman,
Looks like they've gained up on one barrel. 1, 2, 3. All right.
How you doing, sir? Thank you very much for coming. Full name, rank, and full number. Chief J. Sylvia, 018626048. Thank you for coming, sir. Thank you. I want to have a drink of sake.